chance now. And Chalitza as well used to play on Vici Gaming.
Yep.
But we'll have to see what he can do here now for DMO.
While we are seeing the standard pick and bans, gives us a chance to just quickly talk. Chalitza was that top laner who came through on Vici and didn't perform so well, got replaced by Cube. Shubin, of course, has been in the LSPL since 2016 and actually played on Game Talents with the roster that had Gimgoon and Republic. Jordan's a big fan of Republic, actually coached him. But moving into pick ban, while we do change things up, we see the Callista locked on in now. Rotation of AD carry with Ezreal available and Aphelios. That's different.
So I like the Callista here. So OMG basically saying, look, we believe we can just win out in this early game and start the snowball. You've got the set here that more than likely going down to Cold as a support. That's where the LPL has been playing it, but definitely a flex can go to Icon, can go to Hacker, can go to Curse. So you just leave a lot of options open with this set pick. Well, on the opposite side, Syndra, again, you do have a little bit of flexibility there. Could go down towards the bottom lane, but more than likely towards Twilight, this mid lane. No real bad picks for the Syndra, which is why she's so often prioritized over the draft.
And when you see Aphelios getting picked right after it, I mean, that's big. We're not even going to look towards the Ezreal this game. So, smack that one down. Please, DMO. While we know this is OP. There we go. But pairing with it is going to be the question, because Shubin and Mitsuki, this is their debut together in the LPL.
And I want to see now how this bottom lane switches up as a result of Shubin and Mitsuki. So a lot of problems in lane when it was Helper in that bottom side. So this will be a new change, and I'm hoping for new things out of this bottom lane. Thresh, though, is there to support the Aphelios, so definitely trying to add that mobility to this Aphelios in case Shubin has a bit of issues.
But on OMG, this is the point we talked about where Hacker was a facilitator. Hacker was the engine that you named it nicely, Dagda. And with the Lee Sin, again, the playmaking jungle that OMG need.
And I'm curious to see now what he will go for. We've seen the Olafs, we've seen the Lee Sins, and the Lee Sin has definitely been one that has had that playmaking opportunity to turn that game against Top Esports around, catching out Jackie Love with that lovely play. So there we go, going to go back towards it here. And again, doubling down on this early game aggression that OMG are seeing from right now.
Which is why I like that the challenge of Graves taken off the board immediately. We've now got 2, 3, 4 junglers actually taken off in total in this ban phase.
And the thing about Hacker is we actually saw him fall behind to a Graves before.
Yep.
It was in the game against Top Esports where they all invaded. He ends up falling super far behind, but he actually did a really good job of pathing correctly, picking up a few ganks, getting some early jungle camps as well that he really shouldn't have been able to grab. So I'm always impressed with Hacker and his ability to play into some of these poorer matchups, but at least removing some of these would give him even more influence in this
Needs to
match.
stand over Xiaopeng. Xiaopeng, who in the past has been a pretty aggressive jungler himself. He doesn't have the option of going towards the Graves we mentioned earlier, while DMO starting to take away that mid lane champion pool. Icon has demanded 3 out of the 4 bans from Dominus already, while OMG have banned 4 junglers in a row.
Yeah, you're going way down the list here for Xiaopeng, and especially when Xiaopeng has been struggling a little bit with the jungle rooting and also when it comes to certain matchups.
Yep.
Having this much pressure towards Xiaopeng can really put a wrench into the works for DMO's plans. And now, though, you're looking at, well, what does Icon want to go for? Because with this Syndra, a lot of those worse for wear picks that she has in the Echo and in that Akali are now taken off the board.
So, you mentioned the Akali being the final ban. There's, again, a lot of focus. It's like both teams agree that jungle and mid will not play the game, while for Icon, I don't look at Icon mid and say he is an Azir player. We normally see something like the Cassiopeia instead.
I do agree, but last year Icon had a really high win rate on this Azir. He was 73, 76%. So I think looking at this, you've now got this little bit of a late game insurance where you can use this Azir. He can have a decent time against the Syndra in lane. And if you're looking towards, or at least worried about something like a Wukong being picked up here for DMO, you've got this reset button with the Emperor's Divide to just shove everyone on DMO back a bit, buy a little bit of time for your backline, and see then if you can have that winning fight that you need.
Kind of shows you the all-in that's building up from OMG. We will talk about compositions in a second. I need to pause because the junglers that have been taken away means first Sejuani of summer rising to Xiaopeng.
So DMO here have a really good front-to-back team fight. You're going to have 2 big beat the engage tools in the likes of the Wukong and the Sejuani. You've got Thresh here to play keep away for both Twilight and Shubin. So I like the composition that DMO have right now. It'll be just a case of if they're able to pilot it successfully against some of these Emperor's Divide, some of the all-in potential that Set can offer, in particular picking up the likes of Xiaopeng and dropping them on the heads of Twilight and Shubin.
Because there is quite a lot of lockdown for DMO. compare the Syndra, you look at the Wukong, the pick potential that can come through with the Thresh as well. While for OMG, they're built from mid to now late with 2 side laners, or should I say 2 solo laners that develop very heavily in the 1-4.
I want to see how SMLZ can control this bottom side of the map and get rolling in this Kalista, because you need to get off to a good footing, because if you're starting to fall behind, or if he's lacking confidence like we've seen in a couple of these previous fights, or at least in the previous series, he hasn't been the one who's going in, he hasn't been positioning properly, and I want to make sure that on this Kalista against the Sejuani and a Wukong, that he is going in aggressive, he is setting himself up, because otherwise he's setting himself up for failure.
I just love you bringing up that point, because immediately I think, oh no, you're talking about SMLZ not getting caught out, playing consistently. His whole problem through summer already is that SMLZ is in a place where he shouldn't be. Walking blindly into the side of the map where his team isn't, or where there's no vision control whatsoever. The problem with SMLZ is that inconsistency. If you want to see a consistent game in Game 1, well, against his team comp, it is going to be a hard ask.
And when we look over at DMO, it feels nerdy like we're going back to the old Sino Dragon style. So they brought in Chalitza, and I know at least when he was playing in 2019 for Vici, he did play a lot of Kennen, he was playing more of these carry top laners, but historically, and when you look at what he's been playing in LDL at the moment and his previous past in LDL, he's been more tending towards these tanks. His most played in the LDL Spring has been the Maokai, his most played in his career has been the Scion. It feels like we're starting to get the Sino Dragon's sword and shield style back, and this is exactly what this composition is. You've got this 2 big beefcakes in the front line, a lot of CC, you've got a late game damage carry for your AD carry, and you've got Twyla back onto something like a Syndra, a control mage where he just flourishes.
A lot of space to be provided by DMO. Welcome to Game 1, welcome to the Rift, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have the Volley Bear, the Fiddlesticks here in Game 1. I know you've been watching the LCS or the LEC. I'm not sure what's going on in the LCK right now, but you can expect to see that eventually, when maybe they don't think it's so garbage. I gotta be honest, kind of glad not to see it. I'm not a fan. Volley Bear's building on me, but I want old Fiddle back, man.
Look, you're a Fiddle main, or at least you were a Fiddle main. Of course you're going to be upset.
New one's put in the bin for me, to be quite honest.
The shoe bin?
Oh, the shoe bin. It's been put in the shoe bin. Welcome to the Rift. Again, ladies and gentlemen, just remember that shoe bin has come in over Helper, who was having trouble with Mitsuki. I'm going to pause before we go down history lane, because the invade coming through is going to spot Mitsuki, but also spotting the rest of OMG.
It's invaded on the opposite side, though, so DMO reading this very well, that, look, Xiaopeng, you're going to be in a bad matchup here. You don't clear very quickly as this Sejuani, so having that little bit of a pre-notion that maybe Hacker wants to try and get an invade here, they will manage to match it, which means now Curse, who's in this really good matchup as the Mordekaiser, won't be able to go as aggressive because you've now got a split map where you have to be worried about Xiaopeng coming in topside at any point in time.
I'd be careful if I'm Icon as well. He's pushed out in this lane early on. Twyla does get some trade down with the Comet Syndra as Mitsuki and Shubin committing to stopping Hacker through Krugs. Half the camp will be taken. Shubin clears out some of his own, then returns to lane. So slowing down the tempo of Hacker, interrupting a little bit, while for Xiaopeng, he's had a pretty easy start in this top side.
Yeah, he's going to have a great start. You can even see here Curse understanding that, look, this Sejuani's going to be up here, so he's being pushed in. He's not trying to trade aggressively against Chalitza. Yeah, ends up getting traded on pretty aggressively by Chalitza, which good start at least for this Wukong, because realistically, when you get towards, you know, the level 4 or 5s, this is really where Mordekaiser just dominates this lane, and Chalitza shouldn't be able to put that much damage onto Mordekaiser right now.
If you die before getting there, well then that's just an easy win, isn't it? As Hacker's going back towards the bottom side, will be spotted out by some good warding from the bottom lane of Dominus. That means Hacker sitting here with a massive wave coming in. Could go for the dive, 2 versus 3. The face breaker with the flash. Immediately the Haymaker absorbs the shield, and they're out of there. First blood goes over to Hacker. Chalitza teleports in. OMG, nicely done.
Really well played by OMG, especially when you're only level 2 for your bottom lane. The fact you've got this Haymaker that can absorb so much damage is amazing. They play around it perfectly. And now you got Cold, who's unlocked from this bottom lane, looking to try and make a repeat.
And he's got Hex Flash.
Yeah.
He's got Face Breaker. He's over the wall. Twyla just like, what the heck happened? A really good scat of the week, though. And a weird interaction, but he survives.
And this is why we wanted to highlight Twyla. He's been the most consistent member for DMO. His control mages have been nearly capable of turning around some of their games within their series. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to pick up that victory. But his Cassiope against V5 was super strong. His Zillion, as always, has been looking good. And we're starting to see the Syndra pick creep in a little bit more for him. You can see he's still looking really good on this.
He is, but I will say the flash was burnt at the cost of a Hex Flash from Cold. So a very worthwhile trade, a summoner that can be abused with Hacker, who still has his available and who picked up First Blood. Note where this Lee Sin's going, because back to his own blue buff, still on the vertical side of the map. While for Xiaopeng, he's up towards the top side of the map. Right now, clearing away his Krugs. So we're getting back to a bit of normality. Depends on where we go from here and how the map gets split from now on.
So what I'd love to see Xiaopeng do is if he could go towards his bottom side here, but honestly, OMG completely control bottom side of the map right now. You can see how much control Cold has already put in here. I'd love to see him actually clear these wolves and potentially go back towards top side. There's a massive wave that's about to crash in for Chalitza, and there's an opportunity for you to set up a freeze for Chalitza, which you would love to do because of how poor this matchup is. But as I say that, Chalitza's doing a great job of just winning outright in this match. So he's already got a pretty sizable CS lead for himself.
10 CS lead, but also notice in the bottom side it is traded off by SMLZ, who's got 20 CS after that dive on Schubert and Mitsuki. A big old welcome to the LPL. He's 2 levels behind. And Cold has been roaming through that freedom. So for OMG's bottom lane, a lot of early strength provided, and DMO is still under pressure down here.
And this is what we wanted to see OMG exploit, is this bottom lane. It has been the weak point for DMO when it was Helper and Mitsuki, with Helper and Mitsuki both end up gifting over kills with really weird position in lane. Helper with horrific position in team fights against LGD, where he just walks in face first to Shie's Kassadin as Ashe. So we'll have to see if Shubin's going to do a little bit better, but unfortunately, too much pressure already has set them behind.
I mean, yeah, it's not a good start here for the replacement AD carry, but it is only game 1 while Hacker is positioned in mid lane. Good scatter of the week. Twyla has the unleashed power. Safeguard saves his life. Sonic Wave resonating strike. Forward Twyla goes. He just wants the trade, but it was one hit away while the not solo kill. Top side for DMO gets 1 on the board for them. And that was way too close for Twyla.
It was very close for Twyla, but it was that greed. It was that belief he could maybe get the solo kill. Wasn't able to get it though, and it means that at that stage, well, that's all she wrote for Twyla. Good attempt though, and you can see Icon a little bit too far forward in that play, ends up burning his own flash. And this is something that we have been looking at from OMG, is their carries, just those slight misplays, not reading just how much damage can be put back and turned around.
But let's talk about the hero of this early game is Hacker. Shadowing the mid lane. We're going to look towards the other hero on Dominus with Xiaopeng. Oh, baby. That was nice.
That was sick from Xiaopeng. Manages to get out of tower range as well before he goes too low. So, but I do agree. This is why we highlighted Hacker. This is the driving force from the jungle that OMG have been relying on. And once again, he's getting across the map. He's setting up plays on the bottom side. He's getting in towards mid lane. And this is where I think if OMG are going to keep this snowball rolling, it has to be from his hands. He's
already got 2 kills. His Hex Flash from Cold. He wants in once again. Shubin and Mitsuki are paying respect, still down a massive amount of CS, but as we saw in that top side, there's a lead there for Chalitza. A kill goes over to the Wukong, who's 10 CS up himself, and Curse is just trying to stay alive in this lane, now picking up Scuttle to recover some of the gold missed out on.
I'm really impressed with Chalitza.
Oh my
this
God.
is not a good matchup for the Wukong. It's why you picked the Mordekaiser into him.
Sorry, is that Scuttle going to die? I think it finally good. It didn't reset in time.
He's thinking like a jungler. So as a jungler, you've got that little bit of extra burn that'll tick down and kill it off of the item, but not playing jungle this time around. Curse is finding himself a little bit of a tricky situation, said 10 CS down in this winning matchup, but losing.
Look, that's a great death sentence. Cold's going to take a bit of a turret shot, but the trade back, Cassette has bonkers damage as a support. And it turns out to be even, but Cold with HP regen is going to be favorable.
Look at the roam down, though. You've got Twyla and Xiaopeng, at least considering it for a second. Now we'll back away, have this glacial... Xiaopeng, you're not in the bush. I don't know if he might get spotted by Icon.
Maybe his bottom is. I think his butt is.
Is he?
Yeah, the boar's butt is in the bush.
Okay.
So we're good.
I'm sorry.
Do you call it the bush? Like back where you're from? Because like we don't call forest, we call it the bush.
Well, it is a bush. It's not exactly a forest.
Well, they call it brush, right? But
it'd be a bush.
Yeah. Like, have you ever called the jungle the forest?
We don't really have jungles in Ireland. We're not exactly like that sort of climate.
What do you have over there?
We have forests and we have woods. Like, we've got like small collections of trees, and that's your wood, and then obviously you got like bigger stuff. But
so what I'm learning is you've got wood. Well, interesting place in
Definitely
Ireland.
do. We all most places would have wood.
Sir, PP God's not even playing, and we're already getting down into this. Move forward, because in this game, look, it has been a considerably faster early game than maybe we're expecting here. 3 kills going down at 9 minutes, while Xiaopeng is setting up for the kill onto Curse once again. Curse was set behind a little bit earlier. They want to continue doing so.
And FLICKR does a good job here of being able to pick up the Rift Herald, so not actually taking too much out of his time, because Xiaopeng has that little bit of a slower clear. He's not going to be able to contest it as well, and does find an opportunity when Curse is pushing in to steal that one away. So now he gets the chance to run down towards his bottom lane, try and solidify either SMLZ with a little bit of gold, or even towards Icon in this mid lane wouldn't be the worst call.
Sitting right now about 5 CS behind. You can see Icon has gone back as Mercury trades nice and early with the blue buff available. And you're talking about the Rift Herald there. Not going to be backing with it just for now. Going back to his own jungle is FLICKR, who had a bit of a lead himself, while Shubin and Mitsugi are sick of losing out in this lane. Going to be picking up the Krugs, walking back as I believe there's a freeze going on right now. Yeah. OMG's bottom lane just waiting for them to come in, and this isn't very nicely done. But slowly pushing back.
OMG won't be able to do very much with this. I was looking to see if they were starting to set up a play to collapse in on this big push, although as I say that, FLICKR actually pathing potentially back down towards bot side, which is not quite where his camps are going to spawn. They will be spawning on top side, so maybe they're looking here to shove in the wave with Icon and then move back down, but unfortunately that wave has already collapsed too quickly.
I think also FLICKR was looking at helping for the shadow gank, because Xiaopeng gets spotted out clearing through mid, now looking for a dive towards the bottom lane. But this bottom lane is quite massive, as Glacial Prison is now available. Spotted out on the control ward, and Twyla goes back to lane. Oh, hang on, Death Realm. Who wins this now? Chalitza, good dodge away. FLICKR's going to be coming in though, and as Chalitza comes out, Cyclone going to be getting the knock-up on Lee Sin as well. Flush away as soon as he knows there's more people there. But Chalitza will eventually escape and leave the turret, while the trade towards the bottom side not going to be as quick, because there's no Rift Herald for DMO.
I like the confidence here from Cold and SMLZ though. Usually you'd try and back away, you'd be a little bit cautious, but they're like, hey look, we can clear this wave nice and quickly. We don't have to worry too much about the dive, because we've got so much tank and so much CC that can come through, and even the aggro reset with the Fate's Call.
But is this smart from Chalitza? Clone going to be pulled on in instead of him. Rift Herald going to get the charge. He tried to defend it. FLICKR flashes. In he goes once again. Messy dive from OMG. We've been praising them. But now with Icon on the rim. No further dive. That was interesting. Rift Herald is going to be taken down as well, while DMO's bottom lane starts this one up. Teleport towards the bottom side. Xiaopeng out of the back of the pit, and Icon may have just helped secure this one, or at least start the fight.
Well, look at FLICKR. He's only moving through mid lane right now, so no jungler here. But the crucial thing, even though FLICKR burnt the flash, he still has the kick. So DMO do have to be careful about where they position here in case FLICKR can get a nice insect play out.
Also, at the very least, Ren towards this dragon going to make it a piece of cake. But the steal with the Dark Passage out, that should never happen with a Callista and a smite on Lee Sin.
And the beautiful thing here is that for DMO, who are trying to push back when this third dragon is going to spawn, stealing away a dragon like that just gives them a bit more time for Shubin to get up towards his items. And SMLZ now won't find these fights where he can really prioritize his strengths in the early game.
That was ridiculous that Xiaopeng got that, but nicely done at the end of the day. And so small wins across the board that you will count on a little bit later, because OMG at this point, a bit over a 1k gold lead. That dragon would have helped them get towards this Infernal Rift. They already had the Cloud in their back pocket as well. An Infernal Rift on someone like a Callista, the Lee Sin, with the way this game's gone, would have been very nice. So one more extra dragon to go, and DMO counting on it here as they're heading towards their first items. And with that time you talked about, Dagda, we should be seeing those first items pretty much soon.
Going to be looking to see when this first turret goes down as well. I'm surprised to see the Rift Herald used up in this top side.
Oh no.
I mean, Curse isn't really going to be your main carry in any of these fights. His real job here is just to try and stop either Chalitza entering the back line or Xiaopeng. And in the very odd chance he gets onto Shubin, chances are he's going to pick up a QSS. So I would have preferred to see Icon and SMLZ move forward or with that gold, but unfortunately it's not going to be the case. So OMG again, curious decision making when it comes to this early game.
We're just having a look, where you're talking there at the blast cones added. Remember, we talked about this before show. They're everywhere now. It's an infernal rift, so people are going to be popping over left, right, and center.
It does help you escape in a lot of situations. Like, we had that one play, we remember the games we were having the other day, and managed to get just out because you end up in this like blast cone center where you just hop from cone to cone to cone and end up running away. Especially if you're Bard, it gets a little bit ridiculous, but yeah, it can be pretty helpful in getting out of some dicey situations.
A lot of fun as well if you like that kind of thing. Rift Herald's going to be up in a minute though. The second one, the first was given over towards the top side for a bit of extra turret plating gold, but now that's not available. And now you can see the priorities shifting top side for DMO. While OMG's bottom lane, this turret still stays standing, but not for very much longer, and a bit more gold for SMLZ and Cold, who already snowballed the hell out of their lane. It's going to be helpful for OMG.
Yeah, they want to pick up this turret ASAP and then try and move up towards the Rift Herald, but they'll be a little bit late to the party, so might be an opportunity for DMO to pick that one up for themselves. You've already got Shubin and Mitsuki positioned in this mid lane.
They have to be careful. Emperor's Divide now hits a level 2 mark. I guess we didn't talk about it in the early game, but I just noticed Icon has gone for Halo Blades. I was so used to seeing it in spring that I didn't bat an eye, but Halo Blades has lost popularity, but apparently not for Icon. While Rift Herald starts up here on the top side, meanwhile, going down pretty fast, and Cold wants to go on in. He flashes in for the double face breaker, but no one's there from OMG until Curse joins the fight. The steal is taken away as Hacker will secure, but he hasn't picked up the eye. He walked over it, and now he's left.
Keep your eyes, though, on Curse. Try to see if he can get in here.
Cold tried to get it. Oh, no. The flash forward responded by SMLZ, and Hacker was doing so well until he could have just walked back. He was there. So many teams have done this. You need to pay attention.
And that's a pretty big error coming through from OMG. Not only because, obviously, they didn't pick up the Rift Herald, but this is where they would have liked to try and fight. They end up leaving SMLZ for so long down in the bottom lane that they weren't able to get in time while DMO were still in the pit. So DMO pick up a kill. They stop the Rift Herald going over, which stops the acceleration of OMG. And now they're in a reasonably good spot.
You talked about the setup here, especially for DMO. I mean, their composition wants to give space to Twyla and Shubin. Well, Gold has been caught up at this point as well. And DMO heading towards that hefty mid-game with Luden's Echo now picked up Black Cleaver for the Wukong, who has a lead in Chalitza with his debut game back in 2020. First item should be coming for Shubin as well pretty soon. So good story here for DMO after they got bullied pretty hard earlier in the game.
So the thing is, they get that second attempt, though. Dragon is in 30 seconds.
Okay.
It is an Inferno, so teams tend to get a little bit more aggressive towards it. Maybe we'll see DMO try and make something happen, but for OMG, this should be a one-and-done situation. Pick up this Dragon, move on towards the next one, and see if you can start to crack open a few more turrets as you progress on into this game.
Because SMLZ still 40 CS ahead of his counterpart. You can see mid, there's a Nash's Tooth sitting there, built with a blasting one in hand. So these first items were picked up a while ago for these players as OMG. It's going to be a good dodge from Cold, who only has the Hex Flash available. And for DMO, the Dragon now there, but mid priority given over to OMG. Trying to look for a pick in between Mitsuki.
I'd be surprised to see DMO try and make anything happen here, because Curse does have his teleport. You can see how far back to where
But they can do the Dark Passage play again. Xiaopeng, Arctic
no.
Assault. Are you ready? Round 2. At 2K, there's vision there. Xiaopeng wants to jump on in. Smite was early, but he doesn't do it this time around. And Dragon's given over to OMG and the top side turret at the same time.
Yeah, the Dragon does go over to OMG. They did smite early because they had the rend from SMLZ, and then Curse was able to get that top tower as Chalitza was a bit worried about, okay, OMG, maybe don't commit towards this Dragon early. They send someone top, they get the kill on Chalitza, and then they get the tower as well. But right now, OMG are in a great situation. They can now look to open up this mid lane turret. They've got 2 teleports available in Curse and Icon, so shove in these side lanes, then see if you can move over towards mid. You've got a big Emperor's Divide that can shove any defenders out from underneath that turret.
I haven't really seen it from Icon yet, so I'm waiting for that one. Also noticed before that we had a highlight on SMLZ. SMLZ, 10.2 CS a minute here in this first game. It's 18 minutes in. He's at 182.
I just want to go back to Icon, though, because the last slide glide we saw from him, actually, hold on to this point.
Yeah, you got a Death Realm. 3 people are here. Unleash Power doesn't even tickle Curse. Good scat of the week, but here comes the Cavalry. What? Yeah, Shurima's shuffle, flash away from Twyla. Hacker kicks him into the wall. They will recover the play, but Hacker Definitely playing the blind monk.
A little bit of a fumble there, but SMLZ now in trouble as Xiaopeng looking to make the play.
By himself, the Glacial Prison locks on easily. The target there, great death sentence, it'll be exactly that. SMLZ doing what he does as usual, as Mitsuki and Shubin have been TP'd on. Cole comes in with an X-Flash, makes it land, the Death Grasp, and Shubin will be the first maker, as Mitsuki an easy second with nowhere to go. Cole to pick up the kill, and after SMLZ makes the mistake, DMO give it right back.
And there's the power of this double TP where they can join in so quickly. Now with 3 members here, they should be able to get this tower.
Xiaopeng's walking up to the turret. TP's going to be used. He's tanky enough at this point, and they do manage to defend with the help of Twyla.
Yeah, Curse is going down to this bottom side to pick up the wave. Chalitza pushed in, so OMG are moving back and forth, trying to see if they can answer for DMO, but the problem is, again, you're seeing the likes of SMLZ caught out here. No reason to be. Like, at any point in time, how is this going to work out? But then you see the rest of OMG do collapse, so they're able to turn the double kill around. So it's a net win when all is said and done to OMG, but it still hurts a little bit to watch just how poorly how poorly it went when it should have gone better.
TP was ready to go. The rest of the team are on their way.
I just want to go back, though, to that. The last time we saw Icon use that all swoop and boop was against Top Esports, where he did it the completely wrong way.
Oh, no.
And the thing that, if you remember from Spring, he did this Flash Cassiopeia ult, which he also placed the wrong way.
Oh, yeah,
so I'm hoping
right.
that Icon basically has one of these scenarios each split where he just goes completely wrong and then just gets it out of his system and continues forward. So I'll have to see as we start to move on if Icon can correct some of these missteps that he's had in the past.
The crazy thing is, I've always seen Icon as like, I don't want to call him an outright coin flip player because I don't think he's the likes of maybe LGD Yuki, right?
Yeah.
But he has these periods of time where he has really high highs and then he'll drop all the way off a cliff. Like Spring, for example, Icon had a really good split. Then they got towards the end of the regular season and everything kind of went awry. And I think that was communication between OMG. You could see the shot calling was all over the place. Here in summer, it has again been all over the place, sitting at 0-4. Dominus 0-3. But the difference is OMG picked up individual games. So looking for them here in game 1.
As you're talking about him, he nearly messed up there. Didn't manage to glide over the wall and nearly got caught out.
I didn't want to, I'm like, acknowledge exactly what we're talking about. Now sitting in a side lane, you talked about the shove potential here from the Azir. As Twyla's on his way, the swoop and boop into the wall, over the wall, but who's going to hit him? Now Icon has to flash away. The rest of the team's coming in, but Mitsuki with the flash himself lands onto Hacker, the box set up with the Flay, and Aphelios makes his presence known with Shubin looking for his kill. Over the wall, Hacker will escape until it is given a shutdown to Shubin here in his game 1.
There's a chance that DMO just turned towards Baron. You've got an Aphelios, you've got a Chalitza on this Wukong. You have enough damage to finish this.
And they begin, because OMG should not have been there. And here we go. As Cold is level 9. Twyla on the back end. He doesn't need much health if he gets out of the weak, which misses. Remember, Death Realm available. Good death sentence. He's going to be using here into the back line. Cold takes the ulti there. Golden just in the nick of time for Mitsuki. They turn on to Twyla. SMLZ has free range of fire here. Darting all over the place. On top of him, DMO will jump. And that's a perfect play as OMG are left in a 2 versus 2. The flash forward from Curse, who's pretty much won this fight. The Death Grasp Golden, but here comes the rest of OMG. On top of him, they stand. Xiaopeng will die with Cold getting launched on as well. And Chalitza has to flash away. That was by no means from any team a good fight, but it is still a win by OMG.
OMG managed to collapse onto DMO, and DMO moved into the pit, which makes it a lot more difficult for them to try and escape, and means that OMG now, they pick up the fight, they stop the Baron, they get that pesky mid lane turret, which has been such a nuisance for them, because when you look at their comp, it's a little bit difficult for SMLZ to try and knock that down, and you want Icon to try and clear these side waves.
This is so long ago.
Yeah, I know. Icon tries to make the play, ends up pushing Icon into safety over that wall, which was a bit unfortunate. And then Mitsuki here, fantastic flash hook, and they're able to turn this play back in their favor.
It was nice by Twyla as well. We just saw on the back end, scatter the weak from over the wall. And for DMO, that was their chance for Baron, but we're not going to see the other play, which was the mess around the Baron. But I will say, after that, Curse, he picked up so many kills in the pit. He's now 4-1-2. Big Mordekaiser, who earlier in the game was bullied out by Chalitza and Xiaopeng.
And I don't know how he's managed to come back so effectively. There's been all these kills gifted over to him. I honestly, when I was looking at him in lane, he missed a whole bunch of these obliterates. The lane was going heavily in favor of Chalitza. I was like, great, this Wukong's going to be monstrous, but it has been Curse who's had a far bigger impact.
I mean, Curse now sitting levels with the Wukong as well, sitting 10 CS up over Chalitza on that Wukong. And he's got 2.5 items. We've got 2 items in the mid lane for OMG, 2 items in that bottom lane for SMLZ. Last fight, I don't believe he had the Renans, which would have made a huge difference in that small pit. But also note, after that fight, Baron was not taken down, so it's still sitting there.
I'm surprised to see the Black Cleaver build coming in from Chalitza as well. I would have preferred the Triforce in this situation. There's not like there's many tanks on the side of OMG. Like, yes, you can go towards a bit on the Mordekaiser, but it's not going to be the end of the world if you don't go towards that. So I think the Triforce could have done a lot more work for them, especially in taking down the likes of Icon or SMLZ, where Chalitza does get access to the back.
I will say my positivity towards the QSS, though, is quite a lot going up against the Mordekaiser. Expect to see it in some inventories of others, like Twyla and Shubin, but Banshee's Veil there is a pain to deal with for Curse too. So there are measures taken against the Death Realm. As DMO re-established control around this Baron. We're 25 minutes in. OMG have a gold lead. They have mid-prior as Cold wants to go over, but he's death sentenced before he can make it. Good Dark Passage, but Xiaopeng doesn't take it.
That is smart as Xiaopeng, because if he takes that, you're in range then for Cold to just go with the slam dunk home. So. Good call, but will be bot lane turret as a result. DMO caught out of position, but...
Yep, Xiaopeng is. Send him back, he's dead. And don't know why they came back in, but they did.
And this is going to be turrets galore now going over in favor of OMG. DMO are struggle city right now.
I mean, it could just be the Baron, right?
Yeah. Look, DMO haven't been able to put up a fight at all. You only have Xiaopeng down. You've still got a lot of your big engage tools. If DMO can get here, I mean, Wukong, Aphelios, Twyla can do a lot of work in these pits, but they're going to be so late. Well,
this should not be stolen. Smite and Ren, but TP turning for the fight is a different story. DMO have 3 until Cold comes in against the wall. The face breaker on top of everyone, but the box lays down the territory. While that Scatter the Weak in the backline kills Hacker, almost kills Curse, and OMG have walked into some big ultis. Aphelios has the shurikens, and you know what that means, guys. It's time for the rest of OMG to die. It's Icon first with a great death sentence, and it's DMO who capitalized big again.
And although that looked great to begin with for OMG, with Cold finding access to the backline, getting the showstopper off, they just didn't have the follow-up damage to finish them. Now DMO were the ones starting it, and you don't have Icon, and you don't have Hack.
They keep walking into choke stack. They're grouped up. Scatter the Weak, a Sejuani, a Wukong. Everything works perfectly here, and DMO taking down this Baron quick while SMLZ and Curse over the wall. That's going to be the ultimate use, but meanwhile, the Baron continues to be hit while Curse is still looking for Xiaopeng. Cold's over the wall and Hacker's not here yet. Teleport being used while Shubin is the focus target for SMLZ, who gets the shutdown. Again, wants to get another kill. But this just keeps going back and forth. OMG now on the Baron to be taken. And these are the 2 bottom tier teams in the LPL. I'm starting to realize why.
I'm so glad this Baron is gone. This has just been throw after throw at this objective. And finally it goes the way of OMG.
What the heck is this?
This is a 7,000 gold lead for OMG, and it looks like 2 kids that are starting slapping each other.
And one dumps on the parent, and the parent puts them both together, right? It's like being on either side of a set face breaker. That's literally this game. We'll watch this fight again.
I mean, Curse doing a lot of work here to just get Xiaopeng out of the equation, and when he pops out here, he's in the middle of everyone. SMLZ gets direct access to Shubin, which should never happen in this team comp, and I don't understand how this continuously happens, but I mean, when you don't have Chalitza there, he was back in base with the TP coming in.
You're right, though. Thank God that Baron's gone. Infernal Soul coming up in 10 seconds, and at this point, I think OMG have just got this game. They had it through early. DMO took some mistakes from them, but back and forth. This is a game of champion kill ping pong, to paraphrase LS.
It's been 2 people with pots on their head running at each other to figure out who has the harder head. And so far, OMG has come out with slightly less bruises, but still looking a bit bloody and battered. But they do get that soul. They do have the Baron. And Twyla shoving in top lane means that they should be able to push in pretty quickly on this bottom side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, two people each lane, sorry, rather three towards that bottom lane, as Twyla will get it. That's great. Infernal Soul, though, with the Baron means that this turret is going to get down so damn quick. FLICKR rejoins. There it goes. DMO can't do anything about it. And a miracle fight needed with the help of Wukong, maybe Twyla, to get a pick.
I mean, they do have the opportunity, if they want to go for this kind of pick style. Like, you got the, as I said, Twyla, you got Mitsuki with the hooks, even Xiaopeng's ultimate can maybe catch people off, but OMG are looking to do just that, I think, on this bottom lane. I'm not sure why there's no Terrano inhibitor to take, but...
Cole's just used the showstopper. No one was really ready for that. Death Sentence onto Curse, who's been locked on down. That's the pick we're talking about, and OMG, with Baron and Infernal Soul, walk blindly into the night. The face call used by SMLZ with Icon getting a horrible Shurima shuffle. Scatter the week again. Twyla's hard carrying this while Shubin walks on forward. And OMG, how do you lose with Infernal Soul? Hacker's gonna die. SMLZ walks in as well. That's the ace. Oh my god.
What are they doing? This is what we said at the start. Every time I watch this team, I do not understand what happens. Again, Icon going completely wide with this Azir ultimate. And then a DMO with Shubin actually in a good position in this fight to get the damage out that he needs. Works great. Oh my lord.
Oh, this is definitely a warm-up for LGD in top esports, huh? We're going to the bottom before we get to the top.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Oh, no, we started from the bottom, now we're still here. Like there is no, this is game one. As we look at quality, Cole, no one else was really ready for this.
Yeah, he was trying to see if he could get onto Shubin and onto Twyla, but you see again, this Azir ultimate comes in, and I'm just kind of like, what is going on? Like, he gets Mitsuki, great, but you're now in the middle of Twyla and in the middle of this of Shubin's Aphelios, and it just looks at like,
yes, you got to stop bunching on each other with an Aphelios and you know, Syndra, right? That's happened way too many times.
But to give them a due, Chalitza did have a fantastic turnaround engage there. Yeah. His ultimate did a lot of work, but yeah, I mean, Icon, as this Azir at this stage, we're 30 minutes into the game, you have an Infernal Soul, and you're doing almost as much damage as a Sejuani. That's a big issue.
Very, very true. That's actually a very good point. Well, we reset. OMG have lost their Baron. They still have the Infernal Soul, of course, as that can't be taken away, but only a 2k gold lead now with another Baron coming up in 1 minute 40. Elder that could potentially continue turning this game around for DMO, who held on to their base and only have one inhibitor down on the bottom side.
The thing is, though, at these Baron fights, if it's OMG in the pit and DMO are contesting, DMO do really well in these short corridors where you can't actually have SMLZ get access to. Like, so Twyla's got to try and get through to Chalitza and Xiaopeng. And we could potentially see a very similar fight to what we just saw on the base where Shubin and Twyla are just in the back line completely untouched. So OMG still have to be careful and when they go towards this big objective, because you've now got 3 items on this Aphelios working up towards the Death Stance, I imagine, next. So he's going to be hurting quite a bit. Icon has finished his Rabadons though, so this Azir has just leveled up massively from last fight to the next.
Well, he has, but last fight the problem wasn't really the damage, was it? It was a lot about the ultimate as DMO continued to defend their mid lane, and that time it gets ever so close. So bit of resetting going on here for SMLZ, who has 3 items, including that Death Stance. Look at the QSS in the inventory with the Executioner's calling. Nothing's going to change there for now. We got QSSs on both sides, which is quite interesting here, but good to deny it. Mercurial Scimitar actually just bought by Shubin as well.
I would have preferred to see the Death Stance here. Realistically, it means you can play that little bit more aggressive. You do, at least it's an item you can finish now before the next fight, which is probably going to be the last one. So maybe just going, hey, look, we're probably not going to get to a Death Stance anyway, so might as well just toss it into as much stats as we can pick up.
Still nice bit of lifesteal, plus you got the defensive capabilities of the Phantom Dancer as well, so build's still going to be going strong, while 3 items towards the Wukong top. He's got Steric's Gauge, a bit more tankability, while OMG start this one up. Now DMO don't feel confident enough to contest, because you can see where Twyla is. He has TP, but they're not walking towards this Baron. It's been done way too quick, so is this too late? I would think so.
Yeah, it's gone. Good call from OMG here with Icon and FLICKR to start it up instantly, and when they had all the other members of... Oh, hang on.
If you get caught out now, that would be insult.
So the other members of OMG stood in the lane, so they didn't realize how this was already started and how quickly OMG could do it. So got off guard, and OMG now get the Baron. They're starting to get these pushes. They should be able to get the 2 inhibitors that are about to respawn nice and handily. And then you've already got Curse, who's pushing like crazy in this top side.
Now let's talk about this Dragon Dagda, because in 30 seconds, Elder comes up. That's how DMO win the game. That's how DMO fight against OMG.
I mean, I don't even think OMG want to go for this. Like we've talked about it a little bit before, is if you go towards this Dragon, you just give the opportunity for a steal to come in from DMO, they can win the fight and they can close out this game. As OMG, if you just shove in these waves super hard, push back DMO into their base, maybe you can then 2-man, or you can just end up closing out the game with this Baron alone. You don't need to go for this Dragon.
Dagda, they're starting it anyway. Here we go. It doesn't matter. It's the LPL 5 versus 5 Dragon going down quickly. At 5k, DMO say, I want some of that. As Scatter the Week's good again. They flash forward. A good fate's call to dodge away. But the Wombo into the back line. OMG have grouped up. They've already lost Cold. It's the steal. Take it away. No. FLICKR actually secures. And now the fight should be all for OMG. With Twyla running away. DMO losing it all. It was close, but FLICKR manages to carry it in the end.
Just about manages to fight. Twyla would go down, but you can see how close that was. And if that had gone the opposite direction, it could have been DMO winning out this game. But either way, OMG will eventually manage to close out this game. Just going to start knocking down these inhibitors and straight on towards it.
Just running it through mid. I mean, you got the Elder, you got Infernal, you got Baron. This is an easy close with no one up for another 10 to 15 seconds. And this has been an interesting game, number one.
It's been a journey.
A journey's a good word for it. Dagda, we'll close this one out because OMG say enough is enough. Probably should have had this game 5 minutes ago as Icon. Yeah, plays like that are what got you into this mess. We'll run through an OMG with a much-needed win.
I'm not certain if I'm confident in OMG after this one, because